Welcome to the Fantasy Football Press Box with your hosts, Scott Fitzgerald and Sean Clemens.
What is up, fantasy world? How are you today on this fine Thanksgiving week Tuesday? My friends, thank you so much for joining us here at Sudden Death Fantasy Sports for the Fantasy Football Press Box. We are excited to be here today, guys. How you doing, Scotty? My co-host, Scott, run the hurry up, Fitzgerald. How are you today, man?
I'm doing great. A few more days till we get to pig out on Turkey Day. Looking forward to it. It's I'd say it's one of my favorite holidays besides Christmas. So definitely Thanksgiving, get food, football, family, the 3 Fs. So yeah, that's what I like.
Right. I love everything about this holiday except for its origins. I really do. It's literally one of my favorite holidays to just get together, hang out. There's so much football. There's so much fun. And, like you said, food is always amazing. What's up, Lisa? We got Lisa and Jim in the comments already. How you guys doing? And Cyborg, how you doing, man? So you guys know Cyborg is one of the people who did ask us to please move back an hour because he did want to be available for this in the very beginning. And look at that. He is in there right out the gate saying, how you guys doing? So how you doing too, buddy? We're always happy to see you. So Scotty, man, what a week of football. I'm going to go ahead and just start off with my rant of the day because I know you guys know this is coming. Thursday night football, Buffalo goes down. Josh Allen specifically goes down 8 times in the game. I mean, just an unbelievable performance and not in a good way. I was extremely disappointed, so much so that myself, Sean, of all people, is wearing no Bills gear on today's show. Not a single Bills logo except for the tattoo that I obviously can't remove. So I'm telling you, they are on timeout. I'm not going to bring them back off timeout until they get this O-line thing figured out. And more importantly, this defensive situation. We're going to talk a little bit here about the Bills in a minute, so I'm not going to go too crazy beyond this. But I'm just going to tell you guys right now that was the start of everything other than my fantasy life in the NFL was going bad from the gate this week. And it just got worse and worse and worse as time goes on. Buffalo had everything that could happen against them did happen against them. So they walked all the way down to the bottom of the barrel when it comes to the playoff teams in the AFC. And, it's one of those weeks you just want to forget as a Bills fan. And, I'm sorry, I get choked up, No, I'm kidding. I just got a little something in my throat there. But no, I definitely was upset. And, I really do want to get that off my chest because I know you guys were waiting for the rant and how bad it was going to be. But, I'm more just disappointed. I feel like that parent who at this point, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. So now that that's over, Scotty, how was your weekend?
It was good. The Lions, they had to screw around again with an inferior team, and they were able to pull it out on Mr. Monster, Jahmyr Gibbs. We'll talk about him a little bit more later. We'll be seeing him on Thursday for Turkey Day. But other than that, fantasy went okay. DFS was okay. Not the greatest, but broke even. So, yeah, just a couple more weeks till playoffs. I know a couple leagues I locked in the playoff spots, so that made me happy, and got a couple other teams that are fighting. So this time of the year, you just got to grind. You got to find guys off the waivers if anything's left. The trade deadline's pretty much gone, so you got what you got, and you just got to hope and pray and wish for a little bit of luck and some health when you do that playoff push.
Absolutely. I mean, right now in the fantasy world, these are your crucial weeks right here. This from now until the start of your playoffs, this is your make or break week. You got, we have our leagues that we do great, and we have our leagues that we know for sure we're out of. But I'd say the majority of them right now, we're in that zone where, these 2 weeks are going to make a lot of difference for you. So good luck to everybody out there. I hope you guys all do well. Scott talked about the guillotine leagues that we're in currently, and I was able to survive all but one, and we're moving into a whole different avenue there now. So I'm excited to see what this next setup brings with all but one of my teams still live. So it's been one of those weeks for fantasy where I did pretty good as far as that's concerned, because we had some amazing things happen. But everything else in the real NFL world for me was just a disaster from the gate. So I'm glad it's over and we can move forward into this wonderful holiday. So that being said, Scott, what do you say we move right on into first down? Burrow is back, baby. Look at that. I don't know if you guys saw this photo, but I had to use this photo. Normally, I'll do a little football photo and stuff like that, but this one was just too good to pass up right here. So what are you thinking about this? Burrow is back on Thanksgiving Day, man. How excited are you for this? Do you think this makes a difference for guys like a Chase Brown, T. Higgins being out, Ja'Marr Chase coming back from suspension? How do you think he's going to be? What's your thoughts, man? I mean, Baltimore's defense has not been good. So where do you think this is going to lead for that Cincinnati team?
Oh, this is definitely the perfect week for a shootout. Let's do it. I mean,
right?
Big games out of Lamar, big games out of Joe Burrow. A lot of us thought he wouldn't be back this year. So if you patiently had him on your IR, and this is the perfect time to get him back. So hopefully he stays healthy. I always call him Glass Joe because he's Glass Joe. You touch him and he's always injured. So, but yeah, wheels up for Ja'Marr Chase. They're going to be without T. Higgins probably with the concussion. So you look for, Isavach, Josivach, however we want to call him. Chase Brown should get a tick up. And then if you need some tight end help, I mean, look for the gritty himself. I call him the white gritty. It's Mike Gesicki. So pick that guy up, because it seems like anytime Chase or Higgins are out, he finds himself in the end zone. So if he's still out there and you need some tight end help, go ahead and get the white gritty.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. I think that that Mike Gesicki was targeted so many times this week, and it was one of those weeks where, if you need that tight end, which, I mean, come on, how many of us need a tight end right now? What do we got? Like 2 of them that we can be trusted, that you put in your lineup and you're happy with? I mean, it's horrible right now in the tight end world. So if you got somebody like Gesicki, he could be anything from like tight end 3 to tight end 15. You really have no idea, but I mean, the fact that he could be tight end 3 makes it valuable enough to pick him up. So I go ahead and move forward and get him on your lineup and at least have him there for you. A lot of us, injuries, things like that have happened, that Mike Gesicki would easily be the best option available. Yeah. So I'm 100% with you on that. And I'm excited to see what these Bengals bring to the table. I think that's going to make for a really amazing game out of the one game that I thought might not be the best one out of the 3. Now, all of a sudden, it looks like it could be potentially, the best out of the 3 on its own. So I'm excited. I'm really excited to see how that plays out. And I'm excited for this kid to finally get back on the field. We'll see how it goes. Moving on to the next hot off the press, we got Brandon Cooks just right before we were doing this, literally while we were prepping for this Signs with Bills. So obviously, we knew the Bills were going to need to do something. We all thought it was going to be a better move than Brandon Cooks, but he's the best out there, right now. And you bring him in, he's a vet. He could probably learn the system early enough to make a move and help out, at least in certain ways. Scott, do you think this is going to yield any better performance than what we got out of, Cooper last year when he came over to Buffalo? You think he's going to do better than that? Do you think he's going to be around the same? Where do you put Brandon Cooks' addition to Buffalo and how that makes a difference for that offense in general?
I like Brandon Cooks. I've always liked him. He can stretch the field. He can run underneath. It's probably the best wide receiver signing that you guys have had in a long time. Really, there's not much out there. So at least he can help stretch the field, and he'll be a reliable target for Josh. But the Bills are just gonna have to do everything they can to address this position going into next season, whether they draft one or they trade for one or they just throw a bunch of money at a high profile guy. They got to bring in a WR1 to help Josh Allen. You guys are just wasting his prime years, and you can't just put the whole offense on his back and James Cook's back. You got to have an alpha receiver. But if you're the Buffalo's going to make a playoff push,
You need to stop talking about the future, buddy. We need to stick with this season. It's not over, man. Don't talk about it like it's over, all right?
I was moving back into this year because I'm saying if the Bills want to make a playoff push in a wide open AFC, which it is wide open, this signing should help.
I agree. And on the fantasy side of the world, I think that Brandon Cooks does legitimately bring something to the table that could become a valuable piece for your fantasy depth. I really think he's worth at least snagging right now if he's out there. I mean, let's be honest, he's probably out there in almost every league. So I would say go ahead and just get him on your bench if you have the room for him. Don't drop anybody crazy for him. Maybe like a Marvin Mims or something like that. I would drop, Keon obviously is worth dropping at this point. Things like that. Definitely drop him and pick up Brandon. He's better than the bottom of your bench for sure. So I think that's the way to go. And I'm happy that at least we got something because, geez, man, the trade deadline coming and going like it did really just like hurt my heart. All right, let's see what we got next on Hot Off the Press. Oh, yeah, Baker, baby, going down with the shoulder. I hated to see it. But, man, what a difference it makes for that offense in general, especially on the fantasy side of the world. Now, let's talk about his injury first, though. Do you think the man is going to be okay? He is a tough guy. So if anybody's going to try to play through it, it'd be a Baker. Do you think he's going to be okay? What do you think, man, as far as just his NFL season in general? Do you think this means he's done for the, year as far as like being that guy that we thought he was going to be, just baking?
No, I mean, it's a sprained shoulder. There's no separation. There's no tear. It's his non-throwing shoulder.
These shoulder injuries, especially on the non-throwing shoulders, like people think that they don't mean anything for a quarterback, but they mean a lot. Josh had an injury like this a few years back that really did mess with his accuracy and really caused some problems for him. Yeah, so I'm not saying this could happen the same way. It might not be the same exact injury, but still though, the left shoulder does still affect their throwing.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not. I wouldn't play him this week. He's probably not going to play. They'll have Teddy Two Gloves out there. But give 2 weeks, Baker's Baker, the little bit of juice in the shoulder that they give these guys, loosen it up a little bit like the Tin Man, and they'll put him right back out there. So, and the Bucs are still in it. I mean, they're still in the playoff hunt. So, Baker's going to go down with the ship. So, no pun intended. But, yeah, Baker's a tough guy.
I mean, no pun intended. You pun it up, buddy. That's what the show's for, man.
Yeah, but no, I agree. 1 week absence, and he'll be back in because they need him. For them to make a playoff push, Baker's got to be in there. And like I said, he's a tough guy. He'll get back in there. He might just need a week off.
Yeah. I mean, we do have a somewhat of a Bucs insider that's telling us that Baker definitely shouldn't be played. So I would assume that that's the same thing. I don't think he's definitely this week for sure. And then we'll see how it goes moving forward, like you said. But I definitely wouldn't want to play any of the receivers this week. Maybe Igbuka just because he might get peppered with targets. But like we talked about, Teddy is just not the guy to throw him the ball. So. But, unfortunately for anybody who's carrying a buck at this crucial time, you're going to want to sit him on the bench most likely. Next on Hot Off the Press is Rashee Rice. All right, we don't know what's happening. The Chiefs are playing, Turkey Day. Scotty, Rashee Rice had an amazing game. Do you think that, there's a chance that he doesn't play? I mean, where are you at on him? What do you think? I feel like my personal opinion is he's going to power through it. I don't know if that means that he's going to be 100% though and able to be that Rashee Rice that we saw last week. So do you have any concern with him? I mean, I feel like you have to start him, but do you have any concerns?
No, the Chiefs are they're on the verge of not even making the playoffs. So he practiced in full on Tuesday, so he's going to be out there. The Chiefs have to win pretty much, in my opinion. I think they can't lose anymore. So they gotta, they're not going to win the division. They need to, get into the playoffs. And once you get in the playoffs, anything can happen. But they got to win games. They can't be losing games. So it's pretty much from here on out for the Chiefs. It's a playoff game every week.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think he's going to try to power through and play. I'm just concerned that it's going to end up being a problem. So we'll see. I mean, Rashee is a beast. You have to play him. I feel like there's no way you can't. But if he's on the field, you got to put him in your lineup. But we'll see if that makes a difference when it comes to the actual production. So next on our hot off the press, we're talking. Oh, I'm sorry, that was our last hot off the press. I am just way off today.
No,
Samsonite.
we can talk about T.
T, that's right. There was one that we forgot to add in there because it was something that came up that I don't know why it didn't come up on my little slides, but I didn't do it. So T Higgins, we're gonna leave Rashee Rice up here until we talk about T Higgins.
Yeah, we talked about T a little bit earlier when we were talking about Joe Burrow, but yeah, basically Josivach, he should be able to step in. He's done it before. I wouldn't worry about like Charlie Jones. I know he got an end zone target last week, but Josivach is the guy that you should have. And if you were smart enough and picked him up when Chase was suspended last week, guess what? You don't have to drop him because you'll be using him again this week.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And yes, guys, we are talking about T Higgins, but that's Rashee Rice up there. So sorry about that. I was dropping the ball on the T Higgins, literally, pun intended, on that one. So moving on to second down, he went off. And you know who we're starting with today, Scotty. We got to start with Jahmyr Gibbs. 54 fantasy points, 15 carries, 219 yards, 2 TDs. Oh, let's sprinkle in just a little dust on the top with 11 catches for another 45 yards and a TD. I mean, geez, Louise. We did a little short. We did a little OT love. If you guys haven't checked it out, please go look at it. It's a lot of fun. We did a little montage and we had a blast doing it. But we got to witness Jahmyr Gibbs' run live on the air and live on recording. And it was an epic moment for both of us. So that run, everything about his game in general. I mean, what do you think about Jahmyr Gibbs, man? RB1 over Bijan?
Well, before we get into that, let's give our Bucks insider Jimmy Furlan some love for giving us these amazing insider scoops here on the Bucks information here. So we appreciate any insider that comes with some good information. He's been trailing the Bucks for a while now. But as far as Jahmyr Gibbs goes, this brings me back to vintage LaDainian Tomlinson. If you guys are familiar with his work, he was ex-TCU great.
If you're not familiar with his work, what are you doing listening to us right now?
Yeah, exactly. So he is one of my favorite NFL running backs in the heyday. And this is vintage LT. Gets the carries, gets the receptions. I mean, this guy, 12 targets out of the backfield, caught all 11. This guy is just amazing. He's a beast. He's every time he touches the ball, he can take it to the house. Any additional carries that they give to David Montgomery, you're just capping his Jahmyr Gibbs upside. So I know David Montgomery had 8 touches that game. To me, that was like 3 or 4 too many. So imagine what Jahmyr Gibbs could have did with another, 3 to 4 touches out of the backfield. So I look for him to have a huge game on Thursday. I think you just rubber stamp his butt and ride him to the playoffs because he's your horse. And, you just got to to me, you're asking me, is he the 101 next year? He's definitely in consideration. The only problem is the same problem Bijan has. You got the thorn in your side of David Montgomery, just like Tyler Algier. And until they get a full opportunity share workload, I don't know if he's going to be number one. He's going to, in some leagues, he probably will. I'm sure I'll mix up my shares. If I have the number 1 overall draft in multiple leagues, I'll do a little bit of Bijan. I'll do a little bit of Jahmyr, Gibbs. I'll do a little bit of, Chase. We'll see what happens from there. But that's how I'll allocate everything.
I mean, I think that Jahmyr has the same problem that Bijan has, and he's proven that he can power through it better than Bijan is. So, in my opinion, he's over Bijan as far as at least the RB1 role is considered next season. As far as putting him above Chase, that's a different story. I don't know if I could go that far yet. We'll have to see how things move forward, but he's definitely in the running, and he would be 1A or 1B at this point for me as far as that's concerned. So, good for you, dude, because I did not expect that from him. I knew he was good. I didn't know he was that good. So good for you, man. Next up on the He Went Off segment, we're talking about the other three guys that had a crazy game in that same game, which, I mean, this could have been our game of the week. It didn't. It was close. It was very, very close, but it didn't quite make the cut because another game was just amazing. Spoiler alert, we already talked about one player from that game too. But anyways, this game was amazing. Amon-Ra, Jameis Winston, Wandell, 29 points for Amon-Ra, 35 for Jameis. Wandell had 30, 9 catches for 149 yards and 1 TD for Amon-Ra doing his headstand. Jameis Winston, he had 18 for 366 passing, 2 TDs, 1 INT, and 1 catch for 33 yards at a TD, which was pretty insane. Wandell, obviously, 30 points. He had 156 yards in a TD, which, I mean, geez, almost all of that came in the first quarter, it felt like. So, Scotty, man, this game, obviously you watched this one. This is what your Lions, I mean, were you just excited about the way the game was playing out, or was it really pissing you off the fact that the Giants were, in the shape they were for most of that game?
Yeah, it was ugly in the first half until the second half. The Lions were able to turn it on, and Dan Campbell did the right thing, give the ball to his best player. But I want to talk about 2 players, and it's not on the Lions. I want to talk about Wandell Robinson. I mean, this guy's been a really, really good receiver since Neighbors has been out, and he's been a wide receiver 1. I mean, 14 targets. I mean, Jameson slings it, but even when Dark's in there, he's targeting Wandell. So 9 for 156 and a score. I like Wandell Robinson going forward. If you picked him up, I mean, he's going to be great in your wide receiver spot and for your push for the playoffs. And as far as we're getting on receivers, I mean, who needs Malik Neighbors when you have Jameis Winston? I mean, come on. I mean, put this when
I'm pretty sure that every single person who has Malik Neighbors on their IR says, I need Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, well, I mean, come on, man. Put the crab leg guy out there, man. I mean, put him out there. He broke a tackle and ran it in the end zone. I mean, come on. Jameis could play tight end. I mean, put him out there, man. I love Jameis. So, I mean, you got to love Jameis Winston, man, with that reception. That was great.
Hey, I mean, the guy is definitely an entertaining person, and the NFL is better with him than without. That's for sure. So I'm definitely happy to see him do well, and always like it when he gets on the field. I mean, there's a couple of starting quarterbacks out there I think he's better than. So, we'll see what happens in Miami. But we'll go with that moving forward, and we'll see who's next on our He Went Off here, huh? We're talking Caleb Williams. Kills it with his 27 points. Bears beat the Steelers 31-28. He throws 19 of 35 for 239 and 3 TDs, 4 carries for 21 yards as well. Scotty, man, is Caleb a must start? Is he a top 12 must start guy now at this point for the rest of the season? I mean, he's definitely, the team's looking good. They're looking like they might even win that division over your Lions, which is just amazingly shocking to say in general. What do you think about Caleb, man, moving forward?
Yeah, I think he's like a Jekyll and Hyde, but he's got him with 8 wins. So I mean, they're pushing for to win that division, and I mean, he just does. Man, some games he just is really good, like this game's, and other games you just shake your head like, what are you doing? But I think he's borderline. He's a borderline, quarterback 1, especially in a super flex for sure. I mean, he's definitely your second quarterback in a super flex. I know I have him in quite a bit of leagues as a
super flex. It's a no-brainer. I mean, if you're in a 1 quarterback league, though, I mean, it's hard to not put him over guys like Justin Herbert, stuff like that. Now, I just don't see. I don't see him being somebody you can sit for the most part unless you have like a top tier guy.
I think you would just play him I would matchup base him. So, I mean, I didn't think that I thought the Steelers are a better defense than this. So, he did have 3 touchdowns. You're going to get the rushing upside, even though he didn't have a ton of rushing yards. But in a 1 quarterback league, if you have somebody, that, you can do matchups with your quarterbacks, and just play the Bears against bad defenses, I guess, at that point.
What about like Purdy?
Yeah, I think Purdy's the perfect guy. I mean, play Purdy against bad defenses and play Caleb against bad defenses. I mean, you could start either one or the other, depending on the matchup.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that, I mean, I think he's on the verge of a must start at this point, in my opinion. So I'm with you on that one. It's pretty much like if he's not 12, he's 13 right now, as far as QB is concerned. Next time he went off, we're talking Rasheed again. You know, Rasheed, we're definitely worried about the injury and everything, but the man had 8 catches for 141. And he just looked like the beast that he always was back in the day, too. Like, if you just watch how he plays, the man plays like a beast. You know, he really does. So, I mean, I really like what he has moving forward. I do think as long as both him and Patrick are healthy, which Patrick more so sounds like he's going to be okay, but Rasheed's a little bit more of a question mark at this point. If they didn't play Thursday, I think they both been fine, you know, but at this point being a Thursday game, it makes a difference right now. So I do think Rashee Rice is the man in that offense. I don't think Xavier Worthy will ever be better than like a, you know, solid 2 to that offense. I think Rashee Rice is that wide receiver 1, and he can sneak into that top 5 receivers next season as far as drafting is concerned in fantasy world. In my opinion, I think I would not have any qualms with you taking him in the late first round next year, like how Brian Thomas was kind of going off the board. I could see Rashee Rice being in that spot, no problem, because he's going to be ahead of him, Drake London. You know, I mean, who else would you put him behind, really, other than Jahmyr, Justin, you know, maybe AJ at that point? I don't think AJ, I think he's still behind him. I mean, there's really nobody else I can think of off the top of my head right now that I would for sure put behind or put ahead of Rashee Rice. So he's going to be that guy, man, on a team that's just crazy good offensively.
I would also mention that, you know, Kareem Hunt had 30 carries in that game, and he just looks like the better back. I mean, even when Pacheco was in there before he got hurt, Hunt just looks like the better back. I mean, I know he has a little bit of fumbling issues every now and again, but I think if you have Kareem Hunt, you should be able to ride him as a running back too, the rest of the way flex position at worst going forward. And like I said, every game to this point out, the Chiefs are 6-5. It's basically a must-win.
Playoff game. They're in playoff mode for the rest of the season. So just, you know, they're going to play Chiefs-style playoff ball, which is definitely a scary proposition for any of their opponents. And, you know, I hate to say it, but they probably will go on a run. And, you know, it'll most likely end up with Buffalo having to travel to Kansas City once again in the playoffs. And here we go again. We'll see how it goes. But, you know, that's even if we make the playoffs at this point in time. Let's move on to the next slide, shall we? The next one up, JSN. Another big game. I mean, this guy is literally on his way to a historic season. He could surpass some of these just like top seasons from receivers, both fantasy and NFL wise. I mean, it's crazy what he's doing right now. 36 points, 30-24 Seahawks over Titans. He had 8 catches for 167 yards and 2 touchdowns. Scotty, tell me about JSN, man. He's a guy that right below Rice next season in the drafting. And then, I mean, they're in tier like 1B, right? I mean, you can't deny what the guy's done so far.
No, JSN, I mean, he's the top 5 pick next year. I mean, I'll take him in the top 5. I mean, he's a monster. So
you take him over JJ?
Yeah, I'll take him over Justin Jefferson for sure. I mean, I bet you the Vikings would love to have the ghost of Sam Darnold back. You know, I'm sure they would love to have him back right now. And I'm sure Justin Jefferson would too. So
that was a pretty shocking whiff so far. I mean, not to say that it's a full-on whiff. JJ McCarthy, you know, the jury's still out and everything, but you know, you would think Kevin O'Connell, being the quarterback whisperer that he is, he would have, you know, gotten somebody who would have came out with a little bit more pizzazz than JJ has so far.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like I said, Darnold had another great game. You know, he's 16 to 26. He had 10 incompletions, 244, 2 touchdowns. You know, really solid. But I'm going to go to the other side of the ball real quick. And, you know, we've been ripping on Cam Ward the whole year, and he hasn't really shown up. And against a tough Seattle defense, he had the best game of his career, 28 to 42 for 256 and a touchdown. But one thing I did notice, and he needs to do a lot more of this, is he ran the ball. So he had 6 attempts for 37 and got in the box. So I think Cam Ward needs to run the ball a little bit more. I know that sometimes people say, you know, we don't want him running. We want him to stay in the pocket more. But he was definitely effective running the football. So maybe
Some
he'll start.
some younger quarterbacks too, they need to run the ball early in a game and at certain points in a game to get that confidence up that they need in order to make the passes that you want them to make later on. So,
Yes.
I don't mind it, especially early in a game if that's what you need to kind of set that tone.
Yeah. So if you have Cam Ward in Dynasty, you should be pleasantly surprised and pleasantly happy, saying, okay, he had a pretty good breakout game against a good defense.
Yeah, I wouldn't say the future is bright enough to wear shades yet, but you're close.
Yeah, for sure. So got to give Cam some love.
All right. Next up, you got another big performance from Michael Wilson with Marvin out. Scored another 21 points. Jags 27, the Cardinals 24. This was one of our OT specials too, guys. So this was a lot of fun to talk about this game on that OT. So definitely go listen to the montage. The 10 catches for 108 yards in this game. No tutties, but he still did pretty good with those catches and the yardage. So what do you think of him moving forward when they bring back Marvin, which I'm assuming will be next week? We still haven't heard anything, but if Marvin does come back next week, where do you play Michael? Do you play Michael? Do you wait and see how it goes with Marvin there? What are you thinking?
No, I'm still playing Michael Wilson. I mean, I've always liked Michael Wilson. It just, Kyler Murray was just a disaster. So, Jacoby Brissett kind of reminds me of Jameis a little bit. He'll sling the ball. And, they got a nice little, passing, I guess you can say their own little triplets and Harrison, McBride, and now the emergence of Michael Wilson. So, yeah, if you have them, I'm definitely keeping them in the lineup because they're going to be behind in games. They're just going to be throwing the ball like crazy. The running game sucks. I would even when Trey Benson comes back, I still think their running game is just garbage. So they're going to be throwing the ball. They're behind game. They're going to be behind in games. So yeah, I can trust Michael Wilson going forward, and you should too.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's the Cincinnati factor too. I mean, their defense is playing bad. Their offense is throwing the ball like crazy. Jacoby Brissett has got no problem slinging the rock. So I definitely think that it's wheels up for anybody on that passing game right now. Trey McBride included, obviously, but it's one of those things right with the perfect storm scenario. That you're going to get out of that. So I wouldn't mind you playing them both, even if they come back. What I'm curious to see is, where does Marvin fall into this equation, and see if Marvin ends up becoming a much better player for the rest of this season and through the playoffs because of Jacoby Brissett throwing the ball. Because I'll be honest with you 100%, I've always thought that Marvin's talent and his ability has been there, but Kyler Murray is a terrible quarterback for any receiver. Just bottom line, Kyler Murray is the worst quarterback to have if you're a receiver. Yeah, so that's, I think, why he has been so insufferable in the fantasy world. And yeah, I think that'll change if there's a different guy slinging the rock.
Well, I mean, even if Jacoby Brissett's in there and Marvin Harrison comes back, it should even be better because, Michael Wilson now can draw coverage. Harrison won't be double teamed. So if Harrison's going to break out the rest of the year, for the rest of the year, he better do it now because he's got, adequate help on the outside. He's got Trey McBride, so he's gonna face a lot of single coverage. So it's up to him and Jacoby Brissett to get on the same page.
Yeah.
And
if you go back and look, I mean, there's so many times he's been open that Kyler just didn't throw it. Yeah. So I think Jacoby will, and that's what I'm excited to find out.
Yeah, and
it's evident about Michael. I mean, he had Marvin. He didn't hit Michael either. Kyler, he wasn't throwing the ball to Michael at all. Now all of a sudden, Michael's a superstar 2 weeks into Jacoby Brissett's reign. I'm sorry. So yeah, I definitely do think that, like you said, I think Marvin you're going to start to see the reason Marvin was drafted where he was.
Yeah. And one more quick thing. We'll talk about the tight end wasteland again. If you're looking for tight end help, go ahead and get some Strange. And Strange is out there. He had five targets, caught all 5 targets for 93 yards, and Trevor Lawrence likes to give him the ball. Likes finding him. He's a big target. And we've seen they've had wide receiver issues with Brian Thomas Jr. and but yeah, when Strange is in there, he gets the rock. So
we should definitely change the MIDI award to a picture of Trevor Lawrence because he is the ultimate definition of mid. But yeah, I think you're right. Brenton Strange is getting his targets in that offense, no matter what Trevor Lawrence looks like. So I think your wheels up on him too. So we're going to talk a little Matthew Stafford making a strong case for MVP. I think almost like locking it in strong. 28 more fantasy points for the man, 34-7 domination over the Bucks. The injury to Baker obviously made a difference in that one, but I mean, let's be honest, they were dominating the Bucks long before Baker got hurt. He was 25 for 273 and 3 TDs, and only because he really didn't have to do much else. What do you think, man, of the way Stafford's playing? As far as fantasy, man, we already talked about him being locked in as a QB1. Is he your MVP right now in the NFL?
Yeah, he's making a really, really good push. I mean, I know Jonathan Taylor's had a couple bad weeks. They did lose to the Chiefs. But yeah, I think right now I got him 1A, 1B. The Rams, we'll see what the power rankings happen, but I think I'm going to be moving them up quite a bit. Sean's already got him up at the top, so I'll be moving them up.
Whose power rankings are looking a lot better this week? That's the only thing good that happened to me in the NFL this week is my power rankings look a lot better.
yeah, and like we talked about last week. You were able to get Matt Stafford, late in drafts. Sometimes you're definitely your second, if not third quarterback in a super flex. And if you waited in a one quarterback, I mean, you're probably winning because you have to spend early rounds on quarterbacks. So, it goes to show you the deal worked for both teams. The Lions got good players back in return. The Rams got a Super Bowl out of it. So
potentially another one if they keep playing the way they are.
It looked pretty gloomy in the beginning of the season when he had back issues, and they didn't even know if he was even going to start the season.
Right.
Garoppolo there, so.
Which helped our fantasy draft value for us, that people that were still like diehard Stafford guys and were taking him no matter what.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I think him and Jonathan Taylor 1A, 1B.
Yeah, 100% agree. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor's right there too, man. I would love to see a running back get the award. I really would. If it's not going to go to Josh, let a running back take it. Oh man. All right. So this is our game of the week, guys, and you obviously know why this is our game of the week. I mean, did you see this game? It started out like I thought I was going to have egg on my face when it comes to power rankings, but instead that egg just flew right by my head and just went and smacked Scott right in the nose. And his Eagles just took a nosedive in the second half of that game and basically gave it away. And I'm sure that he's not going to keep him at the top spot anymore in the power rankings. And if he does, I mean, then I'm going to have you, admitted, because I'm concerned that you might be clinically insane at this point. But yeah, man, lots of good fantasy points coming out of this game. So many, almost 4 guys going over 20. Oh, actually 4 guys, 25 or higher, going, just killing it for your fantasy league. So it was like the opposite of last week, where we only had 4 guys total that got over 20 points in the entire NFL in fantasy. This week they all were in one game, and there was still plenty of other action to go around. So it was a pretty fun week to see as far as fantasy was concerned. As long as you're a Cowboys fan. If you're an Eagles fan, you probably weren't too happy about the outcome. Scotty, man, let's talk a little bit about, before we get into the fantasy, I just want to ask you real quick, do the Eagles move down? See, even my dog agrees with me. Do the Eagles move down in your power rankings? You don't have to tell me where, but just tell me, do they move down?
Yeah, of course they move down. This is a Cowboys are an inferior team, and they blew a 21-point lead, which was awful. And it just shows you that the change of offensive coordinator is not doing well for the Eagles. You should never blow a lead like that if you're a top-notch team. And, it comes down to Saquon Barkley, too. This guy's had an awful year. They're not running the ball with him. They're not controlling the clock. Their defense has not been that good. It hasn't been as good as last year. So the Eagles are hurting. This was a bad game for them. So we'll see if they turn around. I still have them as one of the top teams in the league still, but they're not at the top anymore as far as number one. So this was, like I said, a bad loss. I don't want to hear about division rival and this and that. The Cowboys are just a bad team, and you shouldn't lose to a bad team like that.
Yeah, no, you're totally right, man. They dropped the ball 100% in that game. I mean, they came out. I think it's like they came out there. They were like, okay, yeah, this is kind of what we thought would happen. So now we can just kind of take our foot off the gas and relax and just flow through the rest of the game. And Dallas had their plans, man. They were not going to let that happen. So I definitely think that when it comes to that grit that we've seen from that team in the past, I think they don't have it. And I hate to say it, I'm wondering if Kelsey's the reason, man, because they just don't seem to have that same type of like just tenacity that they used to have. And it feels like maybe Kelsey was the man that brought that, and they kind of were able to hang on to it for a little bit, but now that he's gone, it's just, they can't hang on to it any longer. So, I'm just, I'm concerned about them moving forward in the NFC. I don't really think they're going to be that force to reckon with that we're all used to seeing from them. So at this point, man, I'd be scared if I was a Dirty Bird.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little fantasy real quick here on these guys, man. Who out of the four guys that we just talked about here do you think is the biggest on the rise guy out of the four of them? I think for me, it's got to be Pickens, man. I think that guy has just proven that he's like, he should have been drafted a lot higher than he was. And as far as fantasy is concerned, out of all four of these guys, I think Dak would be a close second, but I think George is definitely the one that I'm no problem confident starting right now.
Yeah, I mean, Pickens has done it pretty much all year. I've always been a George Pickens fan, even when he was back in Pittsburgh. He's a dog. He's an alpha. I remember watching his daddy when he played in the NFL. His daddy wasn't such a dog as he is, but he was still a very good player. But I'm going to go with Dak Prescott. I think Dak gets no love from anybody, even in the redrafts this year, in the drafting season. He was always one of the later quarterbacks taken.
Imagine how good your lineup would look right now if you waited on Dak and Matthew in a super flex as your two quarterbacks.
Yeah, and Dak is just, he's got the keys to the Cadillac. I mean, they want him to throw, and he's going to just keep throwing. So you're going to get 300-yard performances out of him. And actually, Dak runs a little bit too. You know, he had 5 carries and got in the box. So yeah, I just think, you know, you can, if you got Dak and as a quarterback, I mean, you should be super happy.
Yeah, I agree. Before we move forward, let's talk a little bit on some of our comments coming in. We've got a new buddy, JDog151 in the comments asking a few questions here. What's up, my friend? Let's see what he has to say. Knicks or Brissett? That's a spicy one there. What do you think of that one, man? Knicks or Brissett? I think I'm leaning towards the Card, man. I even though he's a worse team, and they're slinging the rock way more than the Broncos are right now. It seems like. What do you think, man?
I mean, that's a great question, J-Dog.
Yeah.
For sending that one in. God, you got the Cardinals that are traveling to Tampa with no Baker. And then you got Denver. I know Denver plays somebody good. Who's Denver got? Who am I missing here? Do you know who's Denver? Who's
Oh, you mean their opponent, Denver's opponent?
Who they playing?
Oh yeah, let me Google that real quick. I haven't even paid attention to Denver yet because I've been so focused on the Thursday games. Commanders.
Oh, the Commanders. Jeez.
Yeah, that's tough. It's tough to sit Knicks against that lot.
You know what? It's almost, man, you got Knicks is rushing upside. You know what?
I know now, right? It changes my mind a little too.
I really want to play Brissett really bad, but I'm going to play Bo Nix coming off a bye.
Yeah, I think I'm with you, man. It's hard to sit a Brissett after what you've seen out of him the last few weeks, but now knowing his opponent, Knicks looks a little bit better than I thought initially. So I think I'm going to go ahead and go the Knicks route because it was that close, and now knowing that defense that he's playing against, it leans me in that direction. So I think I'd have to go that route too. He's got another question here for us too, real quick. He's saying we got to start 2 out of these guys: Jefferson, Harvey, or Wilson. So obviously we already talked about Wilson. So we're going to put Wilson as our for sure start, right? So we'll get him out of the way there. Jefferson or Harvey? I mean, do you still think Jefferson is a must start at this point? Or are we sitting Jefferson for the RB1 against what we just talked about as a bad defense?
If you sit Justin Jefferson's had a bad year. But if you sit Justin Jefferson and play Harvey over him and Jefferson ends up with 2 touchdowns, you're going to go stick your head in the toilet, give yourself a swirly. So
You know what? Actually, I'm going to switch my mind now because I don't want to be that guy who told you to sit Justin Jefferson and then he goes and gets 2 touchdowns. So I'm going to switch and say go ahead and just sit Michael Wilson in this situation. But I mean, I don't know, man. Harvey and Michael Wilson. I mean, I think either one of them in their situation. But I, like Scotty just said, I can't justify saying sit Jefferson.
No, I'm not gonna. I'm actually gonna sit Harvey. I'm not gonna play Harvey. I'm gonna play.
You're gonna say Harvey on that against the Skins?
Because I want to play.
The Skins, the Commanders.
I mean, we've already talked about Brissett just slinging the rock everywhere, and so what if he doesn't get 15 targets? He's probably gonna get 8. So I mean, I'm gonna start the 2 receivers because I don't know if I trust Harvey 100%. They're going to mix in some Jameel McLaughlin, and who knows? They might bring somebody else in. Who knows? I don't trust Harvey yet.
I mean, hey, it's a good point. And like you said, I'm glad that you gave me the opportunity to give myself an out so that I wasn't that guy who said sit Jefferson live on the air. But thanks a lot for those questions, Jay Doggy. We appreciate it. We got Lisa chiming in. I know your team isn't looking great this year, but those Commanders got a good young quarterback, so just hang in there. You at least you got a bright future, right?
Yeah, those Redskins got a bright future, Sean. Say the name, Sean. Redskins.
They're the Commanders. They're not the Redskins. They're the Commanders.
So, all right, we got another question. Actually,
we have Brad Toms 15 chiming in here with who would you trade for Puka? He's got offered Walker and London in a PPR. Man, you get both of those guys back in return but Puka is such a beast.
I'm not trading Puka Nacua.
It's so hard to trade. We're assuming obviously, right? This is a dynasty here. Otherwise, you wouldn't consider that. If it wasn't dynasty, I think I go for it. If it's not dynasty, because you're getting good points out of both Walker and London. The only thing that concerns me is London with Cousins. Is the whole London and Cousins instead of London with Penix, because we know Penix was liking to target him. We don't know what London's going to do or what Cousins is going to do. So that's the only concern I have there. Otherwise, a dynasty, I don't even think about it.
Oh, he says his running backs right now are Hampton, Spears, Knight, and Rodriguez. Oh, so that's why he wants to get.
He needs the back. And then if that's the case, I'm assuming that he's talking redraft at this point because if he's looking at hey, this is my running back situation, like so on and so forth, then it sounds like he's thinking about either he's in a redraft or he's trying to chase a ship in a dynasty.
Yeah.
And so he's looking at it as a redraft thought process.
Yeah, if you're still there, Brad, go ahead and let us know if that's redraft or dynasty, because that would probably
that would help. I'm gonna go ahead and assume it's redraft, and if it is redraft, then I think I'm gonna say take the deal.
And redraft?
Yeah. And only because as good as Puka is, as good as the offense on the Rams has looked, Devontae has looked just as good, if not like he might be the best on that team right now, because the guy is just a stud. And the targets he's getting, especially red zone, things like that, I think you get London and you get Walker, I would be okay with that, especially with the running back.
He did say yep, so I don't know if that means yep.
Redrafting. Yeah, it's got to be redraft because I said I was assuming it was. So yeah, I would probably say take it. In my opinion, Scotty sounds like he might have a different thought, but
I don't know. Puka's just a beast. I can't, I can't see giving Puka up. I mean, you still got Charbonnet there with Walker. Drake London's got to deal with Kirk Cousins now. Kirk Cousins is washed, man. He's finished. So I'm taking Puka, high-powered offense. The Rams are always going to score, and yeah, Devontae's getting the touchdowns, but I mean. We've seen a lot. We're not
going to help him at all. We're going to disagree.
We've seen a lot of, teams with 2 wide receivers that can make it happen. So,
Yeah. I think if you feel like you want to make the move to get the running back, then I wouldn't hate you for doing it. I think you should go ahead and I don't think Scott would hate you if you did go forward with it. It's close either way. It's not like it's a completely outrageous offer.
Yeah, if your running back stable makes you uncomfortable, then make the deal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's where you feel at that point because it's close enough that you're good either way.
Yeah, true.
So thanks for those questions too. Keep them coming, guys. We really appreciate that. And we even got a little trade talk coming up later on in the show, so keep an eye out for that. So we're gonna do a little quick tip of the cap like we always do to the rest of the games that we didn't talk about. Speaking of cousins, there's your like that. You like that right there, Scotty, staring you in the face.
Yep.
Ravens 23 versus Jets 10. Henry got in the end zone. Thought he did okay, but otherwise there wasn't much to talk about in that game. Patriots 26 Bengals. Bengals looked like they had a shot at taking it. Then they gave up a defensive TD, which basically nullified their defensive TD. That was the only reason that they had a chance in that game. And it pretty much went the way you thought from there. Packers 26, Vikings 6. That was a game that a lot of people picked the Vikings. I personally didn't think that they were going to come out and win that game, and the Packers came out and dominated the way I kind of anticipated. That defense was just not going to let that happen 2 weeks in a row. Browns 24 versus Raiders 10. You're talking Browns Raiders, right? That's all we got to say there.
We have Shador.
Yeah, we can talk Shador. All right, fine. We'll talk a little Shador. I mean, he came out, he played good. He's playing the Raiders. Everybody's talking about him like he's a superstar. It was the Raiders. I mean, come on. But let's talk a little Shador if you want. Scott, I'll let you have the floor.
I thought he looked okay. I mean, it was the Raiders, but that was a pretty nice throw he did when he rolled out and threw that deep bomb to Isaiah Bond. That's a tough throw for an NFL quarterback, and Dylan Gabriel cannot make that throw. So, we'll see what happens going forward. I mean, they're the Browns. You don't know what happens with the Browns, but I've always been a Sanders fan. I think he kind of got the raw end of the deal in the draft if it wasn't for his dad. The kid's got some talent, and you know what? He's doing the right things. He's saying the right things. He comes to practice. He watches film. He does what he's supposed to do. He's not making a spectacle out of everything. So I'm kind of rooting for the kid a little bit. So, I hope he has but we'll see what happens when he plays against a real defense.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I guess the reason I didn't want to talk about him is because the hype is just to me feels like way, way too premature. And when you're talking about the Raiders and the way that they've been playing, I wouldn't be using that as a litmus test at all. I would be waiting at least a week before we, anoint this kid. So let's just hang on. Let's hold our britches. Let's just take a step back for a second and wait and see how things go in this next game. And then we can have this conversation again if he comes out and plays well.
We'll see what happens when he plays this week at home against the Niners, which is a good deal.
Yeah, and you know how Cleveland gets when they've got any kind of inkling, even just a really small remote chance that they have that quarterback, they will come and they will be screaming like it's a Super Bowl. So, I'm excited to see how that fan base, probably more than anything, reacts to Shador's first start at home. So let's move on to the next game. Falcons 24, Saints 10. Wasn't much going on there. Bijan really didn't have a great game, which was really disappointing for a lot of people. And then, of course, we already talked a little bit about it, but the Texans kicked my Bills' butts 23-19. The score does not tell you how bad the game was. The Bills were barely in that game, if at all, throughout the entire thing. So, don't let the 6 points fool you.
No.
That's that down. Let's move into our third down, and it is turkey for your game day. Gobble, 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 gobble. All right, what do you think is going to happen, Scotty, on Turkey Day? Here's what's going to happen, guys. We are going to find out who is going to get the turkey for your game day. So we're going to pick a player from each game, each of us, and we're going to see who does better when it comes time for our fantasy outcomes. I'm going to go ahead. I like this game, Packers-Lions, as a first game out the gate. I would hate to see this game later because I think out of the three, it's probably my least favorite. Not because I don't have it, not because I have an issue with either of these teams. I just think it's going to be not as exciting as the other games potentially can be. So it's going to be a fun one. I just don't think it'll be as high scoring as people might anticipate. So, but I do think that there is one guy who will come out and will play well and get a lot of points for your fantasy team. That man is Christian Watson. That's right, guys. I said it. The oft-injured Christian Watson will have another resurrection of a game and come out and act like you really want to draft him in your fantasy league next year because the value is going to be so great and you'll remember how good he played against the Lions on Thanksgiving. And then he will do the same thing he did for you this year, which is almost nothing until the end of the season. This is the end of the season, and this is his time. Christian Watson will be the man on Turkey Day, getting the turkey for your game day. Scotty, what do you think of Christian?
It's not a bad choice. I like it because I think it was a couple years ago he caught like a huge bomb on Turkey Day against the Lions for a touchdown. I think like one of the first couple plays in the game. So yeah, that's a sneaky one right there. But before I get into mine, Sean, we got to talk about some food. I mean, it is Turkey Day. What is your go-to on Turkey Day?
Okay, so I'm one of those people that a lot of people like are look at me and go, huh? I don't like stuffing, cranberries, or sweet potatoes. And those are like three staples for a lot of people, right? So mine is always nice and good mashed potatoes, a bunch of turkey, and just gravy all over the top of that bad boy.
Got you. Not bad. So, I mean, obviously,
I'm probably gonna die young.
Besides the turkey, I go with the mashed potatoes and gravy. What I like to do is take my wife's famous green bean casserole and mix it all in with the mashed potatoes with the gravy, and that is so good. And then we always
do love me some green bean casserole too. That's one of the things I do like. I usually have a second plate for that. One plate is the turkey, the gravy, and the whole mashed potato kind of mix, almost shepherd's pie like. And then another plate is the sides, and that's one of them. Corn, always got to have your corn. Cornbread is one of my favorite things ever. And if my grandma makes her cornbread, then I'll take the entire thing. So she knows to hide that from me.
Yes, for sure. All right. Well, my turkey man is, I think the Green Bay front is going to be pretty tough. They're going to be keying in on Jahmyr Gibbs. They know that the Packers know that they're not going to be able to win this game if they don't stop the run. So I think they're definitely going to be keying in on the run, which will loosen up the secondary for one Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I mean, Scott's taking the low-hanging fruit, obviously going for the top wide receiver on a higher scoring offense, but I can't hate him for it. He didn't go Gibbs. Okay, so at least we give him that one, right? I like the pick too. I think you're right. I think Amon-Ra is going to have a game. I think that, like I said, it'll be a low-scoring game, but I do think that it'll probably end up being these two guys that do some of the scoring, unless it's one of those things where they end up at the 1 yard line and then it's like a plunge in the end zone. Obviously then that changes things. But as far as I'm concerned, I think each man on this screen right now is going to have a touchdown for you and a few catches, so they're worth playing on Turkey Day. So next game up is the Chiefs-Cowboys. So this is going to be the one that I think is going to be the most exciting game of the. I just got a sneaky feeling that this is going to be one of those games, man, like Rams Chiefs, Bills Chiefs, like those games that the Chiefs just happen to be a part of, where it's just a great game. I really think it's going to be that one. So for me in this game, based on everything I just said, Scotty, you're first. I forgot you were going to go first on this game. I'm such a liar, and I stole your spot. I'm so sorry, dude. All right, so you go first, Scott. We all know who it is, but act like we didn't see it. Who's your man, Scott?
I have a sneaky feeling that, and I know I said the Cowboys were such a bad team, but I think that the Cowboys are going to find a way to win this game. And I think that the turkey man is definitely going to be one Dak Prescott.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say I hate it. I think Dak is definitely a good man to have. Like he's going to have a factor in the way that I'm picking here in a few minutes. So I can't say that is a bad pick at all. I think you did a good job. I think he is going to get you some turkey for your game day, buddy. I really do.
And the Cowboys, if you look at the line, and yeah, I'm giving you a shout out, Cyborg. The Cowboys are +3, so they're getting 3 points at home. And if you remember, the Chiefs were getting pretty beat up against them Colts at home, and then they had to do some kind of miracle to pull it out. So I'll take the 3 points in the Cowboys at home.
Yeah, I would too. In RB. Cyborg is over here talking about go Texans. And I get it, man. I get it. You get the opportunity to get your blows in, man. You earned it. So they definitely came out and beat the crap out of us. So, yeah, man, definitely. I think the Cowboys are going to be that team in this game, and that makes a difference on my guy too. Obviously, like I said, Dak is going to have a lot to do with it because my guy is CD Lamb. And the reason I'm taking CD Lamb, I know he's kind of low hanging fruit. I mean, in my defense, he's hanging right next to Dak. They're kind of on the same level, but hanging off the same branch, I guess you could say. But to me, CD is going to be the guy in this game, mainly because of the games George has had over the last 2 weeks. And I just think people are going to key in on George Pickens a little bit more defensively, which is going to open the book just a little bit more for CD, who we've all noticed has been like shoestring tackles away from huge touchdowns. And he's just kind of like right on the verge of one of those games. So I think this is going to be one of those games where CD goes crazy. And I think he would definitely be the top guy to have on your team. But I think we have the 1 and 2 right here. I think both these guys are going to be the top scoring fantasy players in this game. So turkey for your game day coming out of the Dallas side, guys.
Yep.
So the final game of the night, one of the ones that, like I just said earlier, has now become one of the more fun games of the night. I think it's right there second behind the game we just talked about. Bengals versus Ravens. So this game, Joe Burrow's supposed to be back. You could change things a lot. The Bengals defense has been horrid. The Ravens defense slightly better, but also horrid. So I think that we're looking at another high-scoring, fun game. Not quite as high as we might have gotten out of the game before this one, but it'll definitely be a decently high-scoring game as well. So for me, I'm definitely going to go ahead and take Chase Brown. The reason I'm taking Chase Brown is because everything that we just talked about, Chase, I think, is Ja'Marr Chase is going to get open. He's going to get some good deep passes. He's going to come back strong after his suspension. He's going to open up that defense, and Chase Brown is going to take advantage and run all over the Ravens. So in my opinion, Chase Brown is the man to have. Him and Ja'Marr Chase are probably going to be like a 1A, 1B in this game, in my opinion. I think they'll both be, either one of them will be potentially the highest scoring, but I think it's one of those two. I don't see anybody else being that guy, right? So for me, Chase Brown is the man to play with in this game. Scott, who do you got? Or what do you think of Chase before you tell me what you think of your guy?
I like Chase Brown in that game. I mean, it's a 51.5 over under. So and one quick thing here, if you guys are looking to play DFS, this is the day to play DFS. Packers Lions 49 over under. Chiefs Cowboys 52.5 over under. Bengals Ravens 51.5 over under. We're gonna have just a monstrosity amount of points scored in all three of these games if everything goes the right way. So I look for my turkey man to be one Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar is going to just absolutely go nuclear in this game. It's going to be fun. And I think it's going to be fun for both sides of the ball. You know, I like Chase Brown. I like Ja'Marr Chase, Joe Burrow, Lamar. Don't be surprised if Derrick Henry gets that little swing pass where he rumbles down the sideline for 60 yards for a touchdown. You know you're going to get some Mark Andrews in the end zone. And like we talked about earlier, you need a tight end. The white gritty, Mike Gesicki, he always finds the end zone. So, yeah, these three games are going to be awesome. I can't wait for Thursday.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you, man. You couldn't ask for a better Thursday slate. It's funny because if you looked at this on like week 4 of the season, you were like, what the heck? We're going to have a terrible Thanksgiving this year. Look at how bad all these teams are. Like, blah, 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 blah. Like, here we are now. Like, man, we got probably 4 of the highest scoring offenses with, 3 at least of the worst defenses. So, this is going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, man, I'm excited, dude. I think this will be a fun one to watch, and we're going to, revisit this to see how these guys do on Thursday, because that's definitely going to be something that me and Scott are going to have fun going back and forth over. So moving on to our fourth down, we've got a little Q&A with you guys. So if you got any questions at all, especially trade questions, throw them in the comments right now. We have a trade that we're going to go over right now that happened in a league, and hopefully the two gentlemen that are in that trade are going to be in this comment section potentially as well, because they know this is coming. But yeah, while we're talking about that, go ahead and pepper that comment section with anything you guys want to discuss, because we'll spend a few minutes before we sign off at the end here talking with you guys about anything you want to talk about. So let's go into this trade though first, because this was one of those situations. Now, the reason I wanted to bring this up for you guys is because this, to me, this was one of those almost like perfect situations that you look for. This is kind of that thing that you want when you're trying to find a good trade and you're in the situation that these gentlemen are in. And I really wanted to highlight it because I thought that they both did a good job working this trade. And if they're in the comments and they want to throw their 2 cents into here as to why they did this or anything that happened while you guys went through the conversation on this trade, that would be great. We'll definitely bring that stuff up so that we can talk about it. But if you look at their lineups and you look at the trade, it's obvious what's going on here. Tegatron 4000 is going for a ship. He's actually sitting in second place, ironically, behind myself in that league. And he's looking to make a push to try to get into that, challenging for first place scenario and, make a playoff run, of course, right? And the other guy's done a rebuild. I think he took over Stroll 124, took over, or Stroll 24, it looks like, took over his league this year, and he's just in a complete rebuild situation. So he was looking to offload some older talent and get himself some younger people moving forward. And I really just like the trades that he went with. So let's start with the first one. We'll discuss that one, then we'll move into the second one because it actually happened. Both trades were with the same two guys. So the first trade we got, Stoll 124 getting Amarian Hampton, and he sent two Tegatron 4000, Josh Jacobs, Michael Wilson, and a 2026 first. So let's start with that one. Scott, what do you think of the value he gave up to get the Amarian Hampton piece moving forward, being that he is such an unknown? I personally think it was maybe slightly more than he probably should have given up to get the guy. But if you're in love with him as like a player and you think he's got that potential, I don't think it's terrible. So I really thought it was a kind of a close, right in there. The only thing I would say is that if I was Stroll 124, I would look and say, Tegatron 4000, you're the one that wants to make a championship this year. You're the one that should be giving me the little bit extra in this trade. So I would have been like, you need to throw me back a second or something like that, or take out another piece out of like maybe Michael Wilson out. But I think the best move would be to add a second back to him as well to kind of even that gap just that much. Otherwise, I don't think it's terrible. But I'm really curious to see where you stand on this one too, because this is one that I think you could have a totally different opinion on.
No, I really don't. I mean, I kind of like getting the second back. I think it's just a little much. Josh Jacobs still he's got some mileage, but he's still got a couple nice seasons. I mean, and like we said, Amir Hampton, before he got injured, he was playing really well, but he's still kind of an unknown. So I don't think it's crazy, but yeah, if you could get something a little back, I'd even say even like a third or second, that would be fine. I think it'd be a little more. I just want like another piece back.
Yeah, just like one more small little piece just to kind of even that slight little gap out. But it's like I said, it's not enough that I would say, okay, I'm not doing the deal, and unless you do this. Like, if he liked it, the offer was sent by him, so he was okay with that value, which is like, hey, if you sent that offer out and that's where you're at and you're okay with it, then I get it. It's not the end of the world far as like totally throwing away your team.
I would have tried to get like Alex Pierce back, maybe like Torrey Horton. I would have tried to get a young piece back. Maybe, like I said, I kind of like Torrey Horton.
Yeah, no, you're right. Something like that would have been just fine, like right there, that second round value, basically. So that's absolutely a way that you can go. You look at the team like you talked about right there. I mean, who does he really have on that team that you would look at in that situation? I mean, maybe like a Josh Downs might be a guy that kind of fits that realm. And, I don't really see a whole lot of other options in that area. Maybe if you're into Kyle and you think he's going to take over that Bears running role. I'm not going to butcher his last name, but that I think you could potentially go that route. I wouldn't hate either of those. This is also, I should mention, a TEP league. And so the tight end situation does obviously change when you have a TEP. So, that might have been something he could have chased down, maybe like go after. Yeah, it's hard to say go after like a Theo now because Theo's playing so good. So it's hard for you to kind of just say, oh, go after Theo Johnson. Like that would have been a perfect filler. Maybe before Jackson Dart started, yeah, Theo Johnson would have been easy to get a hold of in that. But now you're right. Now you're going to need to give up a lot more to get Theo added in that deal. But yeah, I definitely do think it was a really close value though. So I don't hate it either way. Let's talk about the second one real quick. So this, I consider it like kind of a continuation since it's the same two guys. The situation is the same. They're both, on opposite ends of the spectrum as far as what they're doing with the season. So he gave up Shedeur Sanders and got back a 2026 second, which at this point sounds like it's going to be an early second. The guy's in 11th place. probably not going anywhere but down, if anything. So, he might get the 101 or 102 with that, or 201 or 202, I'm sorry, with that 26 second. So do you think Shedeur was worth the 201 or 202 to give up to get Shedeur? Or do you think he maybe should have waited and hold on to Shedeur and seen if he was maybe going to be worth more down the road? Where are you at in that trade? Because that one's kind of depends on your feelings on Shedeur, really.
I don't know if I would have given up the 201 or 202. I don't know.
For Shedeur.
I think that's a little rich.
So, and and I understand your opinion on that, but I'm almost like, if he becomes the starter in Cleveland and is talented, I mean, the kid was talented, quotations, enough to be a first round draft pick, even though he fell all the way to the 5th round, which was based on outside of football circumstances. Do you think that a 201 or 202 for a guy that could potentially be a starting quarterback in the league in a super flex, you still wouldn't do it?
Well, what kind of quarterbacks can we get out there that are veterans that you can get at the 201 or 202? I mean, I'm sure there's some veteran quarterbacks. Like, would you give up? I mean, I know Dak. You think Dak would be worth a 201, 202?
Well, the 201, 202 is going to the guy who's making the run. The guy who's doing the rebuild is the guy who is getting Sanders and gave up the 202, 201. So he wouldn't want an older piece. He would have wanted a rookie, younger piece. Would have had to been like a JJ or like a younger up and coming potential quarterback, Bryce Young, that realm.
Well, then you should have just kept Sanders then.
Yeah. Well, no, he got Sanders in the trade.
He got Sanders in the trade, and he gave up.
The other guy traded Sanders away for a second, for a future second.
Yeah. So the other guy traded Sanders, and he got a second back.
Yeah, the guy who's making the ship run. The guy who's rebuilding is the one who got Sanders back.
Right, but I mean, what is a 201 going to do for you if you're making a championship run, though?
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that side of it. If you're making a championship run, why would you want to trade away for the 201, 202?
Yeah.
In his mind, I guess he had, he's got Lamar, he's got Patrick, he's got Kirk, and he's got Tyrod. They're all starting. So I guess he's looking at it like, I got 4 quarterbacks and I can get the 201 or 202 to work towards next year with. I think I'd be okay with these 4. So yeah, I'm assuming that's the way he looked at it. Because to me, the value for Sanders in the 2nd round pick is like close. I personally have Sanders slightly behind the 201, 202. I'd probably keep the 201, 202 and play towards next season and see who I can get. Because that would have got you a Jackson Dart this year. Yeah. Right? The 201, 202 could have potentially got you a Jackson Dart. I mean, it got Bo Nix the year before. Right? So, I mean, there's that potential of that guy slip into you that is worth picking up. I mean, geez, like Drake May fell to the 1-9, right? Like 1-9-ish, 1-8. Drake May was falling to in his draft. If you had the 201 and you were, if you had the 201 and the 205 and you wanted to trade up to get to the 110, you could have maybe gotten the Drake May, right? Like, that's not to say that you're going to actually hit every time, but that could have happened for you if the situation were been 2 years ago. So it's, those things, it's there. So that 201 could be a pretty useful piece at snagging that quarterback of the future, whereas Shedeur, we just still jury out.
I mean, he got the 201 back, but his running back cores, if we're making a championship run, is not that good. He's got Hampton, Benson, Johnson, Shipley, and Mixon. That's who he's got for his championship run. I mean,
you're on the wrong side.
Still on the wrong side?
Megatron 4000 is the one that's making the championship run.
I can't see the screen that well. That's why the
guy who's making the championship run has Lamar, Patrick, Kirk, Tyrod as his quarterbacks.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. At that point, I just think I would have kept Sanders.
I mean, I don't think Tyrod and Kirk are like really solid, like 3 and 4s in case something happens to Lamar or Patrick. But I mean, I could see why he would do it, because he's in the position where he's thinking he's not going to play Shedeur anyway. So he's not looking at Shedeur as a asset for this season based on his quarterback depth. So we got Cyborg in here. our good buddy throwing in a question for us. He's got dynasty trade question here. He says 2026 draft class looking so far. Any 26 picks we should be looking at? So, do you got any thoughts on the 2026 draft class yet, Scotty?
Oh man, it's still early. I mean, I guess we're all trying to figure out what Arch Manning's doing, and you know,
I think Arch Manning's trying to figure out what Arch Manning's doing right now.
Yeah, well, he's trying to figure out who's going to get the number one pick, and that'll decide whether or not he's going to stay or go. So, I haven't looked too much into it. I know Jeremiah Love's probably one of the top prospects, the running back out of Notre Dame. You know, the receivers are, you know, the kid from Ohio State. I don't think he's going to come out till next year. But yeah, I haven't really dug into the rookies for next year quite yet.
Yeah, it's a little early for all that rookie talk next year. I mean, they're still finishing out their college season, you know, at least the ones that still have a shot anyway. So the rest of them are just, you know, deciding what their future is going to be, right? So we'll see how it all plays out in that, and then maybe have an opinion on that as we move forward in the next few weeks. But I definitely, I'm not the type, you guys know that about me. I'm not the type that gets super into college football and knows a lot about it before we start getting into the off season. You know, after the Super Bowl, then I start checking out what's going on with the draft and all the players coming out and so on and so forth. But, you know, at this point in time, I don't really pay too much attention, so I can't really help too much on that question. Sorry.
Yeah.
Love you, Cyborg, but that one's not at my alley.
No, we'll be digging into, you know, dynasty. We'll be digging into the college, you know, probably in March, once the season's over, and start digging into dynasty rosters. We'll start looking at the college players, and we'll probably have some probably guests on that know a little bit more about that stuff than we do. And you know, we usually don't dig into that until you know, March or April anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you're definitely welcome to reach out to Jimmy. Jimmy is into the long-term aspects on players that are in college, so he knows a lot more than we do in that area. All right, guys, though, that's everything for today. We're going to cut out. We tried to finish things off right a couple minutes later than we normally would like to be, but, you know, you guys had some good questions. We want to make sure we went over everything with you guys. So everybody else that's in the chats that hasn't commented, thank you so much for being here. You guys are all awesome, and if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. We really could use those subscriptions to help keep doing what we're doing, because this is why we're here to provide this for you guys, and subscriptions tell us that we're doing a good job. So we're moving forward here. Next week or two, we should have our website out. We're having a meeting tomorrow. I think it's going to be our last little meeting to finish a few things, and then we should be able to launch that. So, you know, that and our Discord is also just as close, if not closer, to being ready to go. So both of those two things are going to be out very soon, and keep an eye on our channel. That's why you need to subscribe, and make sure you click the notification bell also, because both of those things are going to help you understand when all this drops. We're going to throw videos up for you guys right away. Of course, here on the press box, we're going to mention it also. But if you want to catch it right as it happens, definitely subscribe so that you can be available for those shorts when they hit. Hope you guys are enjoying all the stuff that we've been putting out. We really have fun. Hope you have a great Turkey Day if we don't hear from you before then. And for my co-host Scott, for everybody here at Sudden Death Fantasy Sports, where champions cheat death one round at a time, we are out of here.